All right, excellent. So after a bit of a rough start for everybody, I feel like almost everyone got some of the deaths there.
Well, it is Vegas after all, Anders. You know, not the usual digs. Definitely pretty nice. Lots of distractions.
Yeah, this is just sort of a legendary venue, isn't it? A lot of big sporting events have been here. Now we're here, and it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to this one. I do think this first game is going to be really tough, and they ended up on Nuke as well, which is a map that Astralis are good at, and traditionally Danish teams have always been quite good at playing Nuke. So I don't know what to say about that. I don't think it's an outrage. I mean, I feel like at this point, if you're compLexity, any map would have been a hard map, you know?
Yeah,
so what are you going to do?
And the fact that you wind up on one of the more tactical maps as well doesn't bode well for me. Like, this is a demanding map. This isn't like you got into Cash or something where you can just have like some outstanding aim that's going to carry you through. Nuke is all about the calls. It's all about moving together as a unit. And on the CT side, it's knowing what your job is. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect from compLexity going into this map, whereas Astralis, I think it'd be hard to say that they aren't the favorite here.
We're about to find out. They're going to be starting on the CT side, and on the terrorist side, it's compLexity. If you're just joining us, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the DreamHack Masters Las Vegas tournament. First game of the group stage, and already Desi going to be trucking Glaive over at Hell. That's a great way to get started. Kirby going down as well. Desi leading the charge. Finally, Uber's going to get shot down by Dupree, which is a nice headshot, but what a great strat for compLexity. Everyone going from Hell to Heaven and then into the A-bomb side. They've lost Desi though now. It's a 3-on-3.
Indeed. Zipnix, he might be able to find a headshot here. That would actually be pretty clever of him. This would significantly alter the defense on that A site. And he is going to find the headshot in the end. So Def is down.
Oh, and they're going to lose another one now. It's Sip going down. Android up top, 1-on-2. That bomb is ticking for quite a while. They need to get in and defuse it. No one's picked up a kit yet. Android getting a great kill in. That's now just left to Device, and he's really got no time at all. He's trying to make it happen. He gets the kill, but it doesn't matter. There is no time, and compLexity going to steal the pistol round with, honestly, just a great execution. I'm loving everything about that. It's a bit of a gamble, bit of a risk to try and run that many people from ramp into Hell, but I think it's a pretty good idea.
This is like straight matchmaking, man. Let's go. Right? It's like, actually literally did this the other day. It was like, you know what? We're going to go for a pro strat, right? Run through ramp to Hell, up Heaven, down through A main, down Secret, to B. They just stopped halfway, Anders. That's the issue. But it ends up working out for them. compLexity, they pick up the pistol. They get the strong start here on the T side.
Definitely a good idea. Now, what's interesting is the fact that Dupree has picked up the UMP. I think this is a bit of a sign maybe that Astralis also realize how much of an overdog they are in this match and that they just want to sort of finish it quickly. If you're Astralis, you obviously want to just, you know, bang this one out with a good, you know, 16-6 scoreline and just move on. But might not be that easy. Surreal going to be taking down Dupree. It's a good refrag and a very important one, but they will lose Android as well. That's a problem now. 4 versus 3. They need to move on here and actually get the bomb down. And that's going to be really difficult now. Glaive manages to snipe Def. I don't know what's going to happen now. Uber, the last one left.
Not a whole lot that he can hope to do here. Minute left. The best case scenario for him is that he sneaks through the defense towards that B site and actually gets a bomb plant. Only problem is 2 players are waiting for him in the hallways, up close, Anders. This is where it gets nasty for you if you're Uber. You've got the UMP as well. It's decent firepower. But it's also got the advantage in numbers, and they don't even really need it. Kirby with the drive-by headshot on him, drops him, and that's even going to be able to give some, well, utility over to Kirby. He manages to pick up that Molotov, and so just like that, everything going according to plan. Astralis right back in the mix. They get that second round. And so now it's going to be on compLexity to change it up.
Look, honestly, I think this is exactly what Astralis were thinking with that UMP buy. You know, they're just thinking we're just a better team and we're not going to play around. We're just going to show it every round pretty much. So even though they won the pistol, compLexity now are in a bit of trouble here. See if they can manage to show us some more on Nuke. Definitely a map I think that even the top teams have. There are a lot of things that haven't been figured out about the new version of Nuke here. So that's actually one of the reasons why I thought it was pretty cool if compLexity could show us something here. And maybe they still can. I'm not going to count anything out yet. Uber will go down. It's Android and Desi left. 2 versus 3. They've done a lot of damage in this round, actually.
Yeah, they've managed to drop 2 players. That's actually pretty big. Considering one of those players had the UMP, though, it's not the hugest loss here for Astralis, but Astralis, it's all about keeping these rifles alive. And Android, up close, he gets the headshot on Kirby. So now, I mean, they've definitely taken a lot of damage here, compLexity. Both of them are very low on HP, but they've done real economic damage to Astralis. This is now where it gets pretty fun.
I'm interested. I mean, this is definitely not bad. They shouldn't be able to win this round. They just don't have the health for it, and Obviously, they have the 1 AK there, but it should be no problem for Astralis to close out this round and win it. But this is really good damage being done to the Danish side, so not bad at all for compLexity.
Yeah, Zipnix plays it patient. Waits for Android to make the play. They knew where he was playing from. Obviously, Kirby would have relayed that information. And so this is down to Desi now. If you can get that timing, if he were to catch Zipnix with a nade in his hand, that would be huge. Best case scenario for him, and that's exactly what he's hoping for. He's going to be able to make the mad dash. Somehow, they let him sneak through. He has 16 HP, and he's still going to get the bomb plant. This is a huge win for compLexity.
Oh.
And Zipnix not willing to overcommit.
He actually could have spotted him, but I think he thought he was planning behind, and he was a little bit worried that if he just, pulled out the Molotov too soon, he'd get shot in the face. So, yeah, great play from compLexity. 3 kills and a bomb plant. That's definitely a huge thumbs up. They need to keep doing that for a long time. If we bring up the scoreboard once we get back in the game, you'll see why we're so excited that that happened, because the money for Astralis is suddenly going to be very low, just because they have the rebuy all of those rifles. So a very good job for the American and British team. I kind of like the idea. It's kind of a fusion, like historical return, having the the American and the British together.
Are they leading the way? Does this mean something, Andrew? Should we look into it?
I don't know. Maybe there could be something going on there. Seems to be happening on the world stage as well. Desi is going to be going down early on. This is one of those rounds where, again, if you can get 1 or 2 kills in a round like this, you're just going to be celebrating. You don't have a lot to do it with. You're not going to come into this round with high expectations.
Perfect. Oh, that's excellent work from Device. This is where you're going to start seeing the gaps. Because it's very, you need to be perfect in order to get that flash down. No idea really why Kirby's going for the push. This is more of a confidence play on his part than anything. He's just trying to beat up on compLexity. So being a little bit of a bully. But that smoke on Garage, it's so hard to get down perfectly. And so Device knows that there's going to be a gap he can take advantage of. Just goes for the peak. Clever stuff from him. And, well, it's those little details that are going to make the difference here, where Astralis, they're just going to be able to keep finding little advantages in the rounds that compLexity are going to struggle with. Glaive with the double spray at the end.
No kills for the terrorist side. It's a bit of a shame. 3-1 lead in spite of the fact that compLexity won the pistol round. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this turns out. Again, I think there are a lot of places to exploit on this map that teams haven't really sort of done too much with. I think a lot of CT sides now are not very good at holding yard at all. And that goes across the board. Like, even the top teams, I think, do a pretty bad job of it. But then again, the terrorist sides don't exploit it too much. So I think there's a lot of yard play that could be upgraded in the future on this map, because there have been some pretty big changes to it.
Yeah, this kind of strategy here is old as sin, basically. There's nothing crazy here. I mean, Surreal is going to find an angle, but Device can actually take him down, and Device is going to have a field day. Glaive is there to help him out. Device drops 2. Glaive as well. And this is the thing. It's too cookie-cutter compLexity. You put those smokes down, Astralis are going to know what's happening. They immediately start pushing you. They pressure you. They have the nade advantage as well. And if you're going to go for standard stuff like this compLexity, you're going to get punished by Astralis. It's as clear as that.
What a way to get started. You try and put that wall of smokes down, and then there's a gap, and then even worse, Device coming out of secret, the stairwell there to get the other angle on you, as it were. So just very unfortunate, I think. They obviously needed that smoke wall to be absolutely perfect. It is a classic. You're right, that wall of smokes can only really mean a couple of things. There are some teams that try not to use it too much. Yep. We've seen that in the past, but generally speaking, if you want to get down to the B-bomb side from that angle, you are going to put those smokes up just to not get shut down.
It's mainly the lack of a Molotov here, and that's where Astralis, yes, okay, compLexity, they managed to get a bomb plant, but they have been kind of buying pistols. They've kind of been investing a little bit in these rounds, and so they didn't have a perfect economy. Astralis, they know that they can play very aggressive because compLexity are going to be limited in their means to stop them from doing that, right? And so they see that wall of smokes go down. They're like, right, this is bread and butter. This is very cookie-cutter stuff, so just get in there. Look for the fight, and they figured it out now, Astralis. Now they have a little bit more additional info to go off of. Desi with the headshot on Device, though. Okay, then.
Yeah, not bad. Again, these rounds, even though you don't expect to win them on Nuke, you really need to do the damage. And you need more than 1 kill per round. You need 2 or 3. That's the margin that you need, because otherwise the CT side economy is going to keep building pretty much forever and ever. And it's already been good. I mean, we've had 2 rounds in a row here for Astralis where they've hardly lost anyone. If not, I think they've been 2 flawless rounds. So they got to keep going at this point, compLexity, and just do the damage.
Yeah. I mean, they've invested a little bit in this round, but Let's see, it's looking like it's just going to be the straight rush. Perfect timing on the anti-flash there from Xyp9x. Sprays down 2. He's going to be able to line up the rest of them as well. And yeah, just easy work there for Xyp9x. Not a challenge at all. Tech9? No? No, Zip? Oh, he already had a 5-7. Okay. I mean, 5-7, Tech9. Both of them are pretty solid, so you might as well. You're fine at that point.
This whole place is crazy. It's so crazy coming down from the hotel elevator and walking right into a casino. So I could see if actually maybe some of the players are going to be a bit distracted. Hopefully once they're in the game, you know, they're just going to be in the game and that's it. But you see them walking around the casino floor and they do look, you know, like they're in a sort of fantasy world. They all look a bit distracted.
All the lights. The fact that it's like constant music, doesn't matter what time it is. The lights never change either.
Yeah.
It's
strange place.
It's a trippy place.
Absolutely is. You can see compLexity here are setting up for what looks like a yard push. Now, Glaive is on them very close to the box, and they've got Device with the AWP covering that angle too. So it's going to be hard to get out here. Good smokes already. They're creating that wall. Glaive is obviously counting all those footsteps for his teammates. They're going to get the kill on Kirby. That's a good start now. Def coming in with a strong opening frag. dupreeh in the corner, but is he going to get overwhelmed? Def with the second kill of the round. Very good job right now for compLexity. This is where they need to slow down, and Surreal going to get the kill on Glaive. This is a great job. They just need to slow it down right now. They've got all the time in the world. They've got a 2 versus 3, and Sip is low on health. This is a round they must win compLexity.
And there's so many details here to pick up on. Well, let's see how this pans out already, because Uber's ready for the lurk, and Device going to take a bullet to the face. And this is actually working out perfectly for compLexity, and I think a lot of this is due to Astralis just not knowing what to expect from compLexity. That's one of the main gripes that you're going to come into with, if you're a team that's used to playing against the top in the world, right, and going to these European tournaments, compLexity, you never run into them. So really, when you're going up against them, you just don't know really what the tendencies are going to be. And so like this round right here just kind of speaks to me that Astralis were just looking to take fights. They're playing off that confidence. They're playing off the fact that they know that they're the superior team. It's only that they just got punished in this round, really.
Yeah, but you also see, I mean, the sort of, I mean, essentially did work for compLexity, the wall of smokes that they had going on out there. It worked this time. You obviously thought that Glaive was going to be able to do more from that position, but they rendered Device useless with his AWP, couldn't really do anything. And then I think the quick flank that was coming in all the way from lobby on the Astralis side was maybe just, I mean, too quick. They didn't slow it down. They were just running in there to try and see if they can get all the way in and get quick down secret. So I'm not really sure if they weren't just being too aggressive. Well, not from lobby, but I mean from Glaive walking in.
Oh, Glaive coming in from behind. Yeah. I think that's just down to dupreeh. Like what I'm talking about there is that dupreeh chooses to take a wide off angle when he knows that more than one target is coming through. And so I don't know why he decides to just fully expose himself to a tradable position. Because if you know 2 guys are going to be there, sure, you can spray down the 1. But then you're going to get traded if the spacing is correct, like we saw there for compLexity. So it's just like that kind of thing, to me, speaks of just overconfidence on Astralis' part. They're making mistakes that we wouldn't see from them, you know, versus a superior team.
Bit of a failed Molotov. Again, that's what you were talking about a couple of rounds ago. You want to Molotov that secret stairwell just so that no one walks up and takes you out while you're making the crossover, but they actually failed. It didn't really cost them anything, so not really too bad here. Can they find the first frag, though? Even if they win this round, compLexity, Astralis can still buy in the next one, and that's really important. But they've bought themselves some room to work with here.
Yeah, they're putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and they're out in yard again. They've got the yard control. This is what I love to see. I think compLexity need to use this.
dupreeh has now changed it up, though. I mean, dupreeh getting caught that last round might force him to play more of a passive angle. I would like to see him holding a bit more aggressive towards the stairs, and because you can fall back angle to angle, right? There, he kind of really just falls back, and he's already on the site. So we're seeing small adjustments being made here. Desi lurking out in the yard towards CT spawn, and Xyp9x is going to be the one to take that aggro angle. Where's dupreeh?
He is all the way back in the vent. We'll see if they can actually do anything here. 3 versus 5. Kirby's on the bomb site. They do have a Molotov. They can just flush him out. And can they get the headshot instead? Surreal. Really nice shot coming in from him. Then dupreeh lines up a triple kill. And suddenly it's a 1 versus 2. Can they actually make it through here? It's Uber going down. And next in line, Desi. Glaive coming in with a 1 kill there. But obviously dupreeh with a quad kill. That's almost unforgivable for compLexity. They had essentially engineered that whole round to work out really well for themselves, and then just the last stretch when they need to get that bomb down, that's when it all falls apart.
They're also very low here. Those last 2 coming through, Kirby had done the damage. Yeah. And so dupreeh, it's just cleanup duty for him. I mean, compLexity are going to have their issues as well, trying to figure out how Astralis are holding. So that's another one of those situations where perhaps they weren't expecting Dupree to be there, but then the spacing was off as well. They're coming in through the main entrance towards the B site, but then the guys coming in through vents were late, so there wasn't any kind of pincer moving onto that site to catch Dupree. These are all just the details that compLexity are going to be dealing with here, trying to crack open this Astralis defense, because now Astralis, they had 2 players survive. Money still isn't fantastic, but it's good enough. They've got the buy.
Gary up here with the spray down with the AK, and in a couple of seconds, the whole round is gone. compLexity, they tried to make that rush work, and I mean, they should have won the last round. This round, I think they just maybe a bit desperate, maybe just trying to make that work. If you want to go for that kind of rush, you can actually Molotov out Kyebu's position quite easily, and they should have tried for something like that, because you see how well positioned he is. It's very hard for them to do anything once he's up there, because you can't just walk out into the bomb site and look, you know, straight into the sky. Then you're going to get shot down from every other angle. So better grenade usage would have made that rush a better one.
Glaive, man, that P250 does so much damage even at that range. One headshot and Glaive is already down to 22 HP. Somehow survives a bit longer than that. And they will end up getting that feast. The anti-eco frags all over the place for Astralis, but that's so frustrating if you're Glaive, where it's just like, yes, I'm holding this angle. It is an anti-eco. Oh, he shot me. Great. Now I'm down to 22 HP from a pistol that cost $300.
Yeah, you could even see how Destiny was shoulder peeking to line up that shot. You know, he was so ready for it. If it had been a Deagle instead, that would have been a good way to get started. Now it's 8-2 as the scoreline, and we're about to move into the 11th round. We do have a quick timeout, I think a tactical timeout being called here from compLexity's side, just to figure out what the hell is going on and why this is not working. They've actually had a chance to do much more damage than they have in this round, but just some of the key rounds, they are almost going to make it and then not quite. That 2v2 with Dupree and Glaive alive down in the B bomb site where Dupree gets the quad kill ultimately, that's a round you have to win. And you're not, I mean, if you're playing Astralis, you're not going to get many chances, are you? You're not going to get many sort of rounds like that. So once they get there, once you are in that, you know, 3v2 or 4v2 even, you're supposed to win it.
Yeah, the backs to the wall sort of situation. It looks to me like this is... Okay, interesting. So we have the tactical timeout being called here by compLexity. Fair enough. And so, well, what are you discussing if you're compLexity at this point? You're going to have a buy going into this, but Surreal isn't going to have his AWP. You're going to be somewhat limited on the grenades again. And I think this is the main story here for compLexity as well, is that they're just never really able to get that money so that, hey, we have Molotovs every round. We have 2 flashes every round on everybody, right? With, you know, all of the necessities that you're trying to prac with, that you do prac with. So you're saying, oh, we'll run this strategy here because we'll have full nades, etc., right? And you're running it in prac and everything is ideal. But in these sorts of situations now, this is where you truly get tested, because compLexity, you kind of have to just, well, stumble your way onto a site and hope that it works out without all the utility.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a reasonable job at trying to get the yard control. I don't think that's failed every time. So I would go back to that. I just think the problem is once they have that, how do they follow through and actually get onto a bomb site? And it looks to me like they're rushing it too much. Like once they have the 3v2 or the 2v3 or the 4v3 or something, like once they have a man advantage, then slow down. Unless you only got 30 seconds on the clock, just slow it down. Take a deep breath and make sure you're going to win the round from there on out. Where I feel like they're maybe speeding up too much once they have the lead, and trying to see if they can make that work. 11th round coming up here. Big lead for Astralis, obviously. Not without opportunities, I think, for compLexity. They've made some opportunities for themselves, but it's not enough at this point. Obviously need many, many more rounds.
Well, Surreal again going on top of Silo out in yard. Device again going to secret, and knowing there's no incendiaries here to stop him, he's playing so aggressive. And this is a perfect spot for Device. They're so limited on utility here. compLexity are going to run right into it. Now there's the flash, and this is a perfect setup for Astralis. This is exactly how you do it. But as soon as you get in that position that Device was in, you're in God mode at that point. It's so hard to get rid of you if you're compLexity. All of the angles in yard that you have to worry about, and then you're worried about walking around a corner into Device.
2-on-2 right now. Actually, somehow compLexity managed to fight their way back. Quite impressive, really, because you're right. The grenade timing out there working out very well for Device. And they even got the bomb. So Surreal and Uber, this would be a very good time. Gonna get shot down already. Kyebu with a single AK shot there. And Sipniks to follow it up with a big flank coming in. That's such a shame. Again, another one of these rounds that you're not going to get that many of them. You're just going to have like 1 or 2 chances in a half like this to win, you know, a 2v2, and they've already had them. There's a very good chance that Astralis could take the remainder of this half in just dominant fashion, where it's not like a real competition where it's just full spray down, because that happens fairly regularly on Nuke.
Yeah, this is classic. The hail back to the classic days of Nuke, where, well, you're only going to get a couple of rounds if you're complexity at this point. You win the pistol as well. If you're complexity, how insanely frustrating is this?
Yeah.
You won the pistol. Everything should be groovy. Surreal actually getting body blocked there. Dupree had a chance to spray down too.
That's not cool, is it?
That is actually frustrating. When you got your teammate behind you, you're like, please move. I don't want to die. Then your teammate's like, well, I'm not dying, so it's all good with me, bro.
Someone has to be the first man in, and if no one's volunteering, then you just push someone in there, right? That's how it works. Def has gone down already. And they are trying to slow it up a bit here on the complexity side, hoping for some of those frags. I don't think it's going to make a really big difference any longer. They're so close to the end, and the money is quite outrageous for Astralis. At least for 4 out of 5 of them have a pretty good bank going into it. They're going to have a flawless round here with the pre picking up a quad kill. And that will land them a 9-2 scoreline. Very interesting. They really need to make this work. Need the last 3 rounds pretty much. 10-5 is a must, I think.
Yes. And so, all right, that's what I wanted to see. Was Surreal going to have the money for his AWP? He has been able to find a pick or two, but like the fact that you're constantly struggling to actually get a buy-in means that if you've got an opper who really just wants to be a focus op, and only that, how insanely frustrating is it for Surreal to actually be limited that way? He wants to take the fight to Device and Yard right now, it looks like. Device isn't having any of it. Very passive play this time around from Astralis, actually. Just making use of nades, but not really looking for a duel anywhere.
No, and they should. I think there's no point in running around fighting too much right now if you're Astralis. You know that this game is almost in the bag. If you can just close out this round, they're going to be back to ecoing, and you're going to be cruising to the end of the first half really easily. But they've already lost 1. That's actually Def coming up with a kill, taking down Glaive. 4 versus 5 at the moment here. Plenty of time on the clock for complexity, and the kill on Device as well. Def just doing a lot of work right now.
Yeah, we're seeing that new catwalk come into play. He's just constantly on the high ground, finds 2 kills because of it. Glaive and Device, the 2 primary CT players holding out in Yard. And once they have control of that outer catwalk on T side, it's a nightmare. Now it's going to come down to individual plays. They're not going to have any idea that Dupree was in Squeak. Perfect timing there for Dupree to go for the peak. 35 seconds left on this clock, and now it's up to Def to be the hero. He's already got 2 kills. Can he find any more?
A good Molotov there to make sure they can force him back behind the Squeak door and go and pick up the bomb here. 25 seconds left, though. Got to be very careful, and Def looking the wrong way. Another 2-on-2 here for complexity that is not looking likely they'll win it. Desi trying his best to get down, but he's going to get shut down by Sipnix. 11-2 the scoreline. And, the freaky thing that happened by that Squeak door is the fact that as the other CT players running in and making all that noise, the terrorist players who are already in hot are thinking, all right, let's just run in, because we just heard him open Squeak and running in. They don't realize that Kyobu's already there with that angle, so just very, very unfortunate for them that it doesn't work out.
That there's 2 guys there.
Yeah, they just got tricked by the sound, I think, of it.
Yeah, well, what can you do? Sometimes that's just the way it works, and especially when Dupree is hitting shots right now, he's warmed up. We didn't really get to see Surreal actually put that op to any kind of use. He ended up just dying in a hail of bullets. And so he's at the Tech 9 this round. AKs pretty much across the board here for complexity. Again, light on the nades for them. They do have the secret Molotov, so in case Device wanted to go for the peak there. This is sick. I mean, that one incendiary is so annoying for complexity because they're counting on this wall of smokes. There's a timing here that they're looking to take advantage of, and Device, what a shot. Takes down Desi mid-air.
Grenade comes out. They've taken a bit of damage crossing. Obviously, Def is low on health. It's a good sign that Def has been able to pick up so many of these entry frags, though. We've actually heard a lot of talk about him and sort of, people saying actually he can be quite an impactful player, but he's certainly been able to do his part. This time he's going to get shut down. Now 2 versus 4 at the moment. Dupree down to 19 kills and just 5 deaths and a 15-3 scoreline as well for Sip there. So just overall, Astralis are doing a really good job. Android and Uber are left. in the 14th round, and the Device actually going to win that fight. Close range, just gives up on the AWP, tries for the pistol instead.
Oh no! Wait, did Kirby not realize? How does that happen? Oh, I thought Kirby had him for sure. Now it's Uber in a 1v2. Should have been a 1v3. Should have been dead. Device will find the kill anyways, right? Because he had the angle from main, from main. So I mean, just what was Kirby looking at? How did he not spot him?
I have no idea. It looked like he just didn't hear the sound of him, or I'm not sure. It's definitely very confusing.
Oops. All right, well, yeah, we're just seeing a supremely confident Astralis. It's going pretty much exactly the way it was supposed to. And yeah, that's a nice shot from Device. But more importantly, that one Molotov, that one choke, you're committing 3 smokes. And so you're trying to make your play complexity while those smokes are up, obviously. But you've committed 3 smokes to getting through yard to secret. And one Molotov is screwing you up. You're stuck back there wasting valuable time. It's buying time for Dupree or Zipnix to rotate into the B halls beneath as well. It's just that one incendiary for Device is worth so much.
And speaking of smokes, you know who's tired of them? Devices. He's saying, you can put up these smokes, but I'm going to have the auto sniper, and then I'm just going to try and shoot your way through. He's actually hiding behind the vent up on the roof here. This is a very exposed position. It's very hard to get, well, he's going to get back before they really start firing him. But if they get up on Silo as well, then he's going to be fairly compromised from that position.
And again, there's that incendiary going down. This time around, however, complexity, they've changed it up. They shot the windows out towards A. So they can try and set up some grenades here to try and take this A site together. It looks like that's going to be the plan as well. They've gathered up in lobby. Dupree right in position, perfectly placed. Going to get 2 before he gets taken down. And again, a man advantage situation here for Astralis, but Def with a great headshot. It's just going to try and bring it back. Easy as you please here. Device with a double scar 20 kill. Okay. 13-2 at the half.
Just too much money and I think just too much of a mismatch here. I think Duncan made a good point. You know, this is sort of seed 1 versus seed 16, which is what it should be like. That's not a bad point, is it? 13-2. They won the pistol, and then they won the 7th round, and that's pretty much it. But I have to say again, like, if we have to look at the silver lining and have to point out what did work for complexity, they had at least 3 other rounds where it was down to a 2v2, where Def got the opening frags, where Surreal showed that he was pretty good with the AWP. So they had some tools there. It's just that once they got into those positions, they ended up losing the 2v2s, right?
Yes.
And that's a bit of a shame, because it could have been like a 10-5 scoreline otherwise. It would have been interesting to see what would have had. I just still don't think they would have won the game, but it would have been more interesting at least.
Yeah, it would have drawn out a little bit longer. That's your main thing.
Yeah, but if you're complexity, you want that. You know, you're not going to get too many chances to play, you know, against this type of competition, and in a place like this. So you need to soak in all the experience that you're going to get. So
that's a good point.
So there's a very good chance here complexity are going to go home having played just in the group stage, and they're not going to win any games at all. There's a real chance that happens, so they need to make the most of it. You know, get all the experience you can.
Well, that's the cutthroat aspect of this kind of setup. It's the GSL groups again, and you can lose 2 best-of-1s, and that's it. You're done. You're out. And so you desperately need to win 1 map so that you can actually get that start. There we go. Desi and Def, 2 headshots there. Glaive and Zipnix looking for the duels to begin with. But you're right. Complexity could be going home after 2 maps here. That isn't a whole lot of experience.
No, so they need to make the absolute most of it. Make sure these maps really sort of go far, and they learn something from it. Def has gone down 4 versus 3 still. So much time on the clock for Astralis, so they can just wait around and see if the American side is going to come up with anything, if they're going to get too anxious and start to push out. They won the pistol on the first half. Complexity. If they can win this one again, then at least they will have something to build with.
That's both pistols for complexity as well, which is kind of fun. If they can pull this off here, complexity. They won the T-side pistol. I know it's tough to believe when they've only got 2 rounds, but they did win the first half pistol. Now if they could pick up the second one, that would be magical. Uber, perfect. They have no idea. Maybe they can get the angle on him here, and yes, they will go for the fight, but Uber holds his ground. He picks up another one. Not going to find the 3rd kill for him, but the damage is done. It's a 1v3, and Kirby, he's in a bit of a tight spot here with 30 seconds left.
So well done. I love the restraint on the complexity side. Not overextending, not going for any weird fights. You know, they knew they had the man advantage, and there was no reason why they would. Kirby, hard time planning this bomb. He's going to fake it once and then get shut down by Desi immediately. Finally another round for complexity. 13-3. That's very important. Again, I think right now, the name of the game for compLexity is just to try and get as many rounds as you can. Just you're gonna have something to watch when you get back and look at the demos, and you know, you get a feel for what the team is like and everything. I think this is pretty important.
That is Warden's role behind them, right? He's supposed to be the one who's going to be there to carry it. So that's the CT pistol picked up. But he's supposed to be the one, you know, providing that tactical aspect here for compLexity. And so we'll see. Perhaps he's seen enough here from Astralis to start this setup here for compLexity on the CT side, now that they've actually gone ahead and won the pistol. 4 UMPs, a FAMAS for Desi. And this is really just to emphasize nades. They're going to be able to carry as many nades as possible. Device with the jump down to secret. There's the opening. And this hasn't committed Astralis anywhere on the map, essentially. They've actually still got free reign here as far as where they want to go, because that bomb is still waiting back in T-spawn.
Oh.
What the hell?
That's a nice shot.
Ice didn't even get around the corner, and he was already getting dinked.
So compLexity are essentially saying with this setup, they're, you know, it's fine. You can have the map control. We're going to hold on to the bomb sites. And since we have the better weapons, we're not that scared that you're going to get that kind of control. Surreal picking up the early frag, and luckily Desi, you see him almost missing the fact that Dupree was sneaking under him, but eventually he's going to be just fine. 3 versus 5 at the moment. Kirby looking for some one-taps with a deagle. You could see he swapped out a bit too soon from the first target, and he's going to be going down with no kills either. Sit to fall as the last man. And that gives compLexity even more breathing room here. That's very, very important.
Well, I mean, when you're sitting at 2,000 across the board here for Astralis, there really isn't too much. But maybe we see them go squeak to rush vents to B and just try and hope that they get the plant. Go for one of the oldest kind of strategies that we've seen on Nuke and CSGO. Because that strategy is still possible here, even on the new version of Nuke. And already Dupree.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that was only made possible by sort of a minor update that removed some of the boxes that would otherwise block the grenades you need. Because you do need something to sort of, you know, explode the squeak door and just try and get out with the smoke, but that wasn't possible for a while, and then they changed the layout a bit, so you're right, that could be done again. 13-5 is the scoreline, and compLexity starting to really build something here. They've got the AWP on Surreal, and they've swapped out all of the UMPs, and some teams, a lot of teams in fact, would have kept on with the UMPs here. Just because it's still such a good SMG. Obviously,
yeah.
HLTV did a great breakdown on it. If you haven't read that, you should absolutely go and do that. It's a really great breakdown on sort of the rising of the UMP and just how good it is. But
yeah, it costs nothing. It gives you bonus money. It does insane damage to armor. It's got great range, long range. I mean, it might as well be like a mini version of a rifle. So good times, good times.
Holding. Practically line up for him. Look at the damage he did to Glaive and Dupree, but he still couldn't find the kill, and now that they've lost him and ramp control, how are compLexity going to rotate? This is what makes Nuke a hard map as a CT, is you need to find out how to make up for that loss of map control, and so far they've let go of the bomb side as well. compLexity, is it worth going for the retake? That's the real question here. They're not going to have very much money for the rebuy if they lose all these rifles. They need to save at least 2 of them. And, well, now there's no chance. The decision has been made for them.
Yeah, Zipnik's just laying waste. Android, he's looking to battle his way out of this, but now he's boxed in. He's actually got the only way to go forward, and that's up towards the A site. Little does he know, however, there's already man in yard. He makes a perfect call, though. He's found the one way for him to get out of here intact. Okay. Had he gone out in yard, he'd have been a dead man, and the timing works out perfectly for him. There's no... I mean, he's on top of a truck, but there's no, like, truck to hide in anymore back here.
No, the ice cream truck is gone. That's a shame.
Still lets him hold him angle, I guess. We can have fun with that.
They save the AWP, and they obviously have to buy for the rest. There's really no chance there. So, as soon as they lose ramp, they essentially lose the B bomb side, and that's too much. You know, there's supposed to be someone, and there was someone in the window room, but he was there too late. You know, he was there like a good 7-10 seconds too late, so the bomb was already down. At that point, they're trying to play a 4v5 retake on the B bomb side. It's definitely not easy, especially when one of your players has an AWP and on in yard again. Surreal, he had the AWP and he was trying to get into position, I think.
Yep. Just
gets caught by the timing of device there.
And this is where you're going to start seeing the gaps in the defense for compLexity just because of experience. Surreal was way out there and nobody was there really to support him, or maybe like the timing was just off for the support to follow up. but he was caught way out there with an AWP as well. When you've got a bunch of targets running at you, that's not the best place to be because you have no room to maneuver, you have nowhere to hide, you can't play behind a wall, you can't do anything from Surreal's position. You're desperate for team support at that point. And when you're not getting any, you're a dead man.
There's actually something that happens, and I think it's happening right now. When a team like Astralis plays a lower tiered team, sometimes they will sort of give up on a lot of the regular stuff and just start running and shooting and having a good time. I think the most famous example of this is the Fnatic lineup when they were, you know, the sort of the ultimate version of themselves, and maybe they will be again, who knows.
The final boss.
Yeah, you know, when they were like that, whenever they played teams that were even just a couple of levels below them, they would just hit a different gear, and it's really hard when you're the underdog team because you've obviously been practicing and you're expecting Astralis to play like Astralis normally would. If you've been watching demos of them playing Nuke, you're thinking, okay, we have a rough idea, and now they're playing completely differently because they don't need to go to any sort of standard play here, Astralis. They can just, you know, run out in yard and take fights early on and just do whatever they feel like, and it's really hard to deal with. So, bit of a shame for compLexity that probably a lot of the preparation they've done is going to be a bit useless, just given the fact that Astralis are feeling so good at the moment. It is 15-5 here, and this could have maybe been predicted, but compLexity with a really tough matchup. 2v2 now. They lost a lot of them in the first half. They need to win this one and just extend it a bit further, this match.
Nice work from Uber, though. Now he's actually got a gun, and dupree's taking a lot of damage. He knows there's a player on the side as well. Instant headshot, though, takes down Uber. And, well, that bomb has been planted on the B site now. So dupree can back off and just play for time. Def seems to know that he's out in the yard, but he has no idea where the second player, Kjærby, is coming from. And there it is, the easy kill. Kjærby blindsides him. 16-5, the final score here between Astralis and compLexity to start things off here in the group stage. That'll put Astralis one map away from a spot in the playoffs because that's how this double elimination GSL format's going to work.
Yeah, but the next game is going to be, for Astralis at least, going to be more interesting because that will be either against North or Optic. So I'm kind of looking forward to that one. Def did, I think, a very good job. I really like the fact that he was able to get so many early frags when they were on the T side. I think he ended up at 11 kills, Android with 11 as well. I mean, there's something to build on here. If you take all the rounds that were down to a 2v2 and imagine that compLexity had won even half of them, I think there was like 4 or 5 rounds that were down to a 2v2. If they'd won half of them, then it would have been a more respectable scoreline. It would have been more interesting. So they just need to go back and look at this and sort of see, all right, how do we win those rounds? You know, we did the early part of the map. We did the early build-up. We were able to get into a 2v2. I mean, there are teams that you could put against Astralis that would never even get to the 2v2, right? They'd never get that far. So, yeah, it's not all bad for compLexity, but obviously a really tough game, as was predicted. Everyone on the desk, and I think ourselves included, all in on Astralis, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't really say like this is like the Astralis tie because it's compLexity colors as well. So I could have gone either way, right, Anders? You know, I didn't color coordinate today, but kind of have to go with the Scandies on this one, the Danes.
Yeah, I mean, they are a pretty good team right now, but I don't know.
It's not, yeah, it's just because, I mean, they're pretty good. They're the best team in the world right now, like flat out. And they're in a position right now where they can win 3 back-to-back top-tier tournaments. And right now, it's going to be fascinating to see how deep they make it into this one, Astralis. Now they're in the best-of-1 range to make it into the playoffs, to coast through. But then that almost has me a little worried because then it leaves them with a day off. And when Astralis has a day off, they tend to I mean, most teams, in fact, when you actually make it through the group so quick and then you have that day off, you start to cool off where all the other teams, they're battling in that long best-of-3 day, so they have like that extra day of competitive play to keep them in shape. Astralis have a day to cool off.
You're in Vegas. You know, a day off in Vegas.
A lot of distractions.
Really dangerous.
But yeah, I'm a little concerned for Astralis. I almost want them to lose the winner match so that they go into a best-of-3 on Friday and then are still in shape going into Saturday for the playoffs.
Could happen, could happen. But we do have a bit of a breakdown with Smix, so please, Sue, take it away for us.
Guys, I'm here with Glaive after Astralis had a very dominant start. So first of all, congratulations with that. It's been about 2 weeks since you guys won the major. So how have you spent the time relaxing, celebrating versus practice?
Of course, we had our focus on the next tournaments. When we have a tournament on close to the major, we have to be prepared. But of course, we celebrated as well. We had some fun together and tried to work a bit on our team chemistry as well to keep it up. So yeah, of course, we just practiced and had fun.
I know recently you tweeted that you're excited to play Inferno again. Bringing that into the map pool and Dust 2 being gone, how do you think that'll affect your guys?
I think Dust 2 was a pretty good map for us, but Inferno has been a good map for both the guys when they were playing with Karrigan, and also from all my teams when I have been the in-game leader. Inferno has been a really good map, so I believe we can do good damage on that map as well.
With Inferno being brought in and Dust 2, as you said, which was one of your better maps, being gone now, there is a higher chance that you might land on Cobblestone at this event. So wondering if you guys have practiced that at all?
We have been practicing all 7 maps for this event, like we did for the 2 last events as well. I think we're ready to play all the maps, and I can't wait to play Inferno.
And now in your group you have North or Optic, both teams. There's a lot of interesting storylines there. With North you have that Danish rivalry, and then on the other side it's Optic, a team you seem to play every time you come to a LAN. So especially with the roster changes that they've had, what are your thoughts?
Like, we didn't play against the North yet, and I really want to prove that we are able to beat them. We didn't get the chance to beat them yet. I want to show it now.
All right, congratulations again and best of luck.
Thank you.
That was Sue there with Glaive, just stating that they've been preparing on all 7 maps. As expected, Astralis, defending world champions from the E-League Major, definitely need to have done their homework as they come into another major event. $450,000 on the line here for DreamHack Vegas. Joining me, Moses, Thorin, and Yenko. And it is a case of as expected. I've had a quick change. I've actually found an iron. Thank you very much. Stepping up the game. Eventually, I'll find a tie.
They have them in the hotel room.
Eventually, we'll find some chest hair, perhaps.
You got a hotel room?
Yeah, I'm in a tent outside.
Hard life.
I don't get to live
just
that
lost
life.
his hotel room in the first day at the blackjack table?
Yeah, that's it. I just put the room key on the table.
Put his wife, his hotel room, and his horse.
Yes. put
none of them
it all in. And we did go all in on our predictions. Everyone put their DreamHack prediction chips
You
on
somehow
Astralis.
have actually gotten chips
I
added.
found them. Yeah, they were hidden over there.
Okay.
So I've got all 10 now. My stack is no longer as smaller than your guys.
Well,
Which is
debatable.
Okay, you replied to that email, I see.
Yeah.
Didn't know that worked.
Let's get into it, though. We said Astralis going to win, and it does seem like it was another day in the office. Nuke the map. You figured, this could have been one of the chances had they started on CT, had a couple of, a winner pistol. We could have seen a more competitive game.
Yeah, you'd like to be optimistic at some point, wouldn't you? But I mean, no. There was, the first few rounds that we saw, the gun rounds in the first half, you did see a little bit of Astralis. A couple players not being as coordinated, not setting up their crossfires, but I mean that was fixed very, very quickly, right? And then it just got stamped out from there. I also think it's usually, when the North American teams, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a North American team beat a European team in like a pistol round to start a map, and then just lose the next round, and then just get wiped off the map. Sure. So I mean, just kind of standard operation here for NA versus Europe matchup.
And we got to see Astralis on Nuke again, a map that's kind of being added to their repertoire, Duncan.
Yeah.
See some good stuff. Glaive in that same corner outside yard every single time.
Yeah, well, like he said in his interview there, this is actually something they've been stating for the last couple of months, which is that they are practicing all the maps. It's not like that scenario, like, for example, the dominant Fnatic or SK teams where they pick a permaban and they're always going to go with it no matter what. The whole thing is this team knows that, like, if they're going to win against this level of competition, they've got to be able to go everywhere depending on who they're playing. So this time around, certainly they're willing to play a map like Nuke, rather than play something like Cobblestone. And I think, actually, the way they won so easily here, there's nothing really to be worried about. I mean, on paper, if you can eco back on the second round on T side, you should be able to have something to work with there. You should be able to build up the rounds, but never really in danger for Astralis at this point.
No danger whatsoever. compLexity, though, any signs of life from them, Yenko? You didn't get to find too much.
Not really.
No, okay.
So I think it's the usual, you can see the obvious flaws with the team when it comes to the small things. When they want to go for that default, try to take control of yard, some of the smokes have gaps. When they go for it, they don't go in as a unit. They fall to the crossfires of Astralis, who does a good rotate towards the secret area, things like that, basically. And the round falls apart before they can get into the bomb site. In a couple of situations where they do get an advantage, when they push towards the bomb site, they just get mowed down by Dupree. We saw in that one round, for example.
So you're telling me that they lack the fundamentals and the mechanical skill to compete with a team like Astralis. That's kind of the open and shut case for this one. The final closing thoughts is probably going to have to be coming from you, Jason, in regards to compLexity and who else stands in their group. North and Optic. If you can't do any damage to Astralis, surely this is going to be the end of the road quite briefly.
Yeah, I mean that's the obvious prediction is them just getting knocked out of this group pretty handily.
But North America,
Optic, the one thing is if they go against Optic, if there is a little bit of disorganization, it is a regional matchup. You can see some of that. But also, you also have to say this is a LAN now. This is where some of that regional matchup in North America gets a little bit more solidified in terms of who's better. And that's also where the experience of Octave comes in, how good they've played, even without Stanislaw. Now they still have a lot of dangerous players on that team. So that'll be interesting to watch that one.
And I'm so glad you're talking about it, because that is what's coming up next. Optic versus none other than North, both making roster changes, and there's so much to talk about in our next matchup here on the mainstream. We're going to go ahead and take a break, catch our breath after compLexity were swiftly dispatched of by the Danes, but do stay with us, because when we return, North versus Optic is going to be here in just 5 minutes.